problem.
See you later, Muppet. Told you would leave before me.
So,
Bye!
Well, I'll be back in a minute.
Falls into the
It's
Terrorism Act.
common sense, don't you think?
No, it's not. Hold on, you've just cited the Terrorism Act.
well, I would rather be safe than sorry. You're flying an aircraft over a police
Correct.
building.
Technically, I didn't go over.
Welcome to Police Prep, your trusted guide to joining the UK Police. Get expert tips for exams, interviews, fitness, and recruitment. Prepare today, protect tomorrow. This episode is sponsored by the Laughing Auditor. Check the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him credit. In this episode, an auditor named TLA visits Bow police station and flies his drone from the car park. Police officers see him and tell him to land the drone and stop flying it over the station. TLA does what they ask. But then things get worse. The officers detain him under the Terrorism Act, which is a clear violation of his rights. It shows ignorance, abuse of power, and misuse of authority, and the whole thing is caught on camera.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm one of the police officers that works in the building.
Is it? Have you got some ID?
Have you got any ID?
Okay, you're a police officer asking me. I don't need ID.
Right, I'd like to know what you're doing flying a drone in the police car park.
Because I wanted to. So if you don't have a warrant card.
I do have a warrant card.
Okay, so I need to see that then.
Right.
There you go. Not that difficult, was it?
Right. Why have you got to be like this?
I'm not being like this. You're just.
A conversation with
No, you're not. You're saying I can't do this, I can't do that. Hey, how you doing?
asking why you're flying a drone over a police building.
Because I wanted to.
Well,
Police premises.
Okay.
premises.
You don't own the airspace.
No, but it's a secure building. You've got to understand that.
You don't
a
own-
massive security risk. If
Does
you're
it?
flying a drone or.
So what security risk do you think I'm going to pose?
Well, we don't know that, do we?
What's the security risk?
Why are you being so argumentative?
I'm not being argumentative. I'm asking you.
Very nice.
Sorry.
And asking you politely.
Okay.
Please don't fly the drone over the building.
Okay, so
you could be liable.
Liable.
You say it's under the Terrorism Act.
Terrorism Act.
Yeah.
The officer's reaction to the drone shows they don't really understand the law. Instead of staying calm and looking at the situation properly, they immediately confront the auditor with vague claims about security risks. The auditor points out, correctly, that the police station doesn't own the airspace above it. But the officers seem more focused on showing control than talking about actual rules. It's clear they don't like being filmed, but that discomfort doesn't make filming illegal. Things get worse when they bring up the Terrorism Act, suggesting that flying a drone over the station could be a reason to search him. This is a serious overreach. Officers can only legally use the Terrorism Act if they have reasonable suspicion of terrorist activity, and simply flying a small, legal drone in public doesn't come close to that. Using anti-terror laws to scare someone isn't just wrong, it's a clear abuse of power.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so what part of that act says that flying a drone, as required, that isn't required to by law, falls into the
Well, it's
Terrorism Act?
common sense, don't you think?
No, it's not. Hold on, you've just cited the Terrorism Act.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So what part of the Terrorism Act says that I can't fly a drone over the airspace above your building?
Well, all police buildings, all buildings that
right, I get what you're saying, but if you're
have
saying...
detrimental effect for someone. I'm not.
Right,
You don't look like you are, but I don't know. You could be someone who's looking
Just, I'm
to cause
sorry, don't
trouble.
want to interrupt. Obviously, you're recording.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, which you're entitled to do.
Yeah.
I don't have my body cam on me. I've
No,
identified myself, so
okay.
I'm going to record you as well. Just
Is that a personal phone?
Yeah, well, they can take.
Oh,
Is that a
just-
personal phone?
Yeah, but you're under GDPR regulations, so you need to make sure you make a copy of that available if I request it.
Yep.
Okay,
As
so-
would be with other.
But I don't have a problem with if you
That's
filming
fine,
me.
just
It's
for
totally fine.
transparency.
Just so long as when I make my freedom of information request that's available.
And I will supply
Okay.
this footage
Awesome.
straight to everyone.
The main point here is that any data collected during a police interaction has to be stored safely, logged properly, and made available later if the person who was recorded asks for it through a subject access request. The auditor was right to point out that if an officer uses her own personal phone or device to record, she still has to make sure that recording can be found and shared later if requested. If this isn't handled correctly, it could count as a GDPR breach, which can lead to disciplinary action or legal trouble. Police are encouraged to use official body-worn cameras instead, since these make it easier to keep track of and manage the footage properly. But even if an officer uses a personal device, the same data protection rules still apply.
Officer, am I being detained?
Well, we stop an account.
Am I being
You're accounting
detained?
for your actions,
Am I being
mate.
detained? It's yes or no. I'll ask you one more time, and
You're free to go.
Yeah, if I'm
free to go.
If I'm free to go, then I'm free to stay. Okay, it's as simple as that.
You're free to go.
Right, you've cited the terrorism legislation, but you've not told me what part of that legislation that I may be.
Can I speak, please?
Of course you can.
You are being detained under the Terrorism
Okay,
Act.
what part of the Terrorism Act?
Well, I believe it's section 43.
Okay, and what are your grounds for that?
You're flying a drone. You've been very obstructive to us.
Okay.
We're trying to have a conversation.
Is that grounds?
I'm trying to give you. I'm trying to.
No, you stop. You're infringing on my rights at the moment.
Can I please?
Okay, and you're
speak?
misusing legislation, and you're going to make yourself party to a civil claim, and then there'll be professional standards
Well, I
involved.
would rather be safe than sorry. You're flying an aircraft over a police
Correct.
building.
Technically, I didn't go over the police building. No, I won't let you finish because you're infringing on my rights at the moment.
Ferguson. I'm based at Bow Mounted Branch Stables. I've shown you my warrant card yet again because obviously you're going to want to see it again. There is my warrant card. Okay, I've told you you're being searched.
You're not talking about being searched.
Right, you're detained.
You're unlawfully searching me.
I'm not unlawfully.
You're unlawfully searching me. Why are you grabbing me like that?
Because
You're
you're being
assaulting me.
detained. I'm not. I've told
Okay,
you
you don't need to do that. Okay.
Right.
The decision to detain the auditor under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000 is a big problem. This law lets officers search someone only if they reasonably suspect that person is a terrorist. But the reasons given here are very weak: flying a drone and being obstructive. Neither of these has anything to do with terrorist activity. It's clear the officer doesn't understand what level of suspicion is actually needed to justify using anti-terror powers. What's especially concerning is how quickly one officer's comment of "you're free to go" gets overturned by another officer's decision to detain him anyway, a decision that isn't backed by law. This shows not just a lack of legal knowledge, but also a knee-jerk urge to assert control over someone who knows their rights.
You have messed up big time, and this shows you
We're
all
just doing our job, sir.
No, you're not. You've infringed on my rights and you've misused the legislation.
Well, no, we haven't.
Yes, you have.
Absolutely.
What part of Section 43?
I'm not going to explain again.
No, because you can't explain it, and you've not explained it.
I'm not going to
You've
explain it
abused
again.
the legislation, mate.
You're just being a complete
100%.
idiot.
But you know what? Keep doing it, because it will be the exact same way with Section 44, and it will get repealed. And as I say, you guys have had it bad enough already. You're not making it easier on yourself. Over 800 officers being
What's that
investigated.
got to do with your drone being flown
Because
over
what I'm
here?
saying is, yeah, you had an opportunity to come up to me and have a decent conversation.
We tried.
And we could have educated you.
We
But
tried.
you've decided to misuse the legislation.
We tried.
You've not listened to a
We've
word I've
really
said.
tried.
And you've
been
abused my
obnoxious
rights.
and rude from the moment I arrived.
No, because you came out with Section 43 of the
and this is where we are.
Nah, you misused the legislation, and as you can see,
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Well, that could be any website.
it's from the CAA, so it's fine.
I don't know what
it's
that
fine
is.
because see when a civil claim goes in,
This moment is really shocking and shows how unprepared and uninformed some officers can be when it comes to drone laws. When the auditor calmly shows the official CAA website to prove he's allowed to fly there, the officer brushes it off, saying, "That could be any website." Even worse, the officer then admits, "I don't know what that is." It's worrying that an officer detaining someone over a drone doesn't even know about the CAA, the organization that regulates UK airspace and drone rules. This isn't just ignorance, it's incompetence, especially since the officer is making decisions that affect someone's rights based on what he doesn't know. Instead of taking a moment to learn or check the facts, he just dismisses solid information because it doesn't match what he already believed.
that'll be used in evidence to show that what I was doing was perfectly legal activity. The drone's under 250 grams.
And the
I've got
court
my,
will look at
I've
that
got my,
and
I've
think,
got my
"Do you know
operator
what?
ID with on the
We
drone.
would do exactly the same if we were
Okay,
police officers.
when she came up and interrupted me from flying the drone, I said to her, "I'm flying an aircraft, give me a minute and I'll
What about
land
all
it," and I
these
landed it
private
straight away, did I
windows
not?
around here?
There you go then.
What about all these
So I know what I'm talking about.
What about all
You
these
don't,
private
you haven't got a
windows?
clue.
What about all these private
Where's my
windows around
ID?
here?
Let me go.
I'm going to get your ID in a second.
What about all the private
reason
windows?
Sorry. The reason that you were stopped isn't because you're flying the drone.
Yes, it was.
No,
It's on camera.
it's not.
Well, so what is it then?
Let me
Oh my
finish.
God.
Let me
You're not
finish.
listening.
So I says to you, if I go out the pavement and fly my drone from there, is that okay? And you went, no. Is that not what I said? Is that not what I said? Is that not what I said? If that's the case, I'll go out on the pavement over there and I'll bring the drone back up and put it back over your building.
Why would you do that when we've just explained the reasons why?
Is that not what I said?
You're clearly not going to let
No,
me.
because you're chatting nonsense.
I'm not.
You're havering.
You're not free to stay because this is.
Why am I not? If I'm free to go, I'm free to stay.
This is private.
Okay,
property.
so
You are
close it
not
off
free to
then. I've got an
stay.
implied right of access.
No, you
No, you
don't.
haven't.
Section
You don't
33 of the
need
Criminal
any
Justice
evidence
Act,
over there.
1972, gives me an implied right of access here.
The main point here is that police stations are public-facing buildings, and their car parks are usually meant to be used by visitors, including people who need to make a report or ask for help. Unless there are clear signs limiting public access, or the car park is physically locked off, the auditor has a legal right to be there. Just saying it's private property, without any signs or proof, doesn't cancel out the public right of access under the Criminal Justice Act 1972. The officer's claim that the area is private, without pointing to any actual evidence or signage, shows he doesn't fully understand the law. The auditor was right to stand his ground and refer to the legislation. In cases like this, officers should know that open areas of police property that the public can normally access don't just become private because an officer says so.
It's a public car park. For all you know, I could have a car in here.
It's not a public car park.
But why is it open to the public?
Because I've told
Where does
you,
it say no
sir,
entry?
I've told
Where
you
is your
you have to
gate?
have emergency
Jog
access
on.
for the
See you
residents
later.
of the
You're
house.
going to leave before I do.
You please go now.
Or else what?
Otherwise, I will use usable force to escort you off the private property.
And if you do that, that's fine. I will not resist. I will not fight back. But then you'll have another civil claim.
No, because it will be reasonable.
Do you want a bet? Listen, 100%.
You're so angry.
Because look at the state office. These have used Section 43 illegally to stop and search me
At the
illegally.
very beginning, if that was me,
Don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff.
you
Put
take
it
your
back.
phone, please?
No, put it back on the floor.
Right,
We'll
we're
take it
going.
this
Come on,
side then.
we're going to leave. We're going, sir. Thank you.
No,
Right,
so
using
reasonable force,
to
yeah.
escort you off private property.
It's not private property.
It
Who
is
owns the
private
police? Who pays
property.
for the police?
Not you.
No, I do. My taxes pay for the police.
Okay.
So I'm going to go on the pavement and I'm going to lift my drone up there. Then what? Then what are you going to do? I'm now on public, aren't I? So I stand on the pavement. What are you going to do then?
please go.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, you can stay here, but you're not flying your drone over the place.
Do you want to bet? Do you want to bet?
Yes.
After detaining and searching the auditor under the Terrorism Act, you'd expect the officers to admit they got it wrong and move on. Instead, even after confirming he wasn't involved in any crime, they still try to stay in control by telling him, "You can stay, but you're not flying your drone over the premises." This shows that even with no legal reason to stop him, the officers won't back down. It's like they can't accept that they made a mistake, so they keep trying to impose rules anyway, just out of stubbornness. The real problem is that their authority was already undermined once the detention turned out to be baseless. So telling the auditor he can't fly his drone, even though they know it's legal, just comes across as petty and unfair.
What makes you think that?
You're being very rude.
What
very
law,
obnoxious.
what power are you going to try and enforce then to stop me flying my drone? Perfectly legally. You don't even know the legislation. You've not got a clue.
Well, why are you being
Because
like this?
Because you've illegally stopped and searched me under 43.
It's
Terrorism
absolute
Act.
common sense.
It's not common sense.
Cannot fly
Listen.
a drone over a government
Let me
building
just-
because of security
Let me
reasons.
just
all I
inform
know,
you
you
something.
could
So
be
you keep
going
talking
back
over me, you
to-
muppet. Shut up. Shut up. How about
You
that?
could be
Shut your
going
mouth.
back
Shut
to
up.
a terrorist
Shut up.
organisation, for
Shut
all
up.
I know,
Okay.
to give them
Okay.
information about
Okay.
certain buildings.
So do you suspect
So
me
it
of being a
makes
terrorist?
perfect
Do
sense.
you suspect me of being a terrorist?
Well, maybe.
Do you? You've already
Yes.
searched me. Did I allay your fears?
Maybe, because
Maybe.
you're adamant that you want to put your drone
Yeah,
above
I am
building.
adamant because it's perfectly legal activity.
Suggesting that the auditor might pass information to a terrorist organization about the building is really grasping at straws, especially in a time when Google Earth and Street View already offer high-resolution, public images of almost every building in the UK. Arguing that filming with a normal consumer drone is some unique security risk doesn't make sense. The irony is obvious. Anyone can already view detailed aerial and street-level images of police stations and other public buildings online in seconds. So treating one person with a small drone as a terrorist threat, while ignoring that the same kind of footage is freely available through Google Earth, shows poor reasoning and mixed-up priorities. It's clear the officers are just trying to justify their earlier mistake by making up unlikely scenarios.
Well, you're going the wrong way about this.
Is it? Well, you don't want to listen.
You're going
I
to
tried showing
you're
you.
going to end up going into a cell.
That's fine, mate. And then I'll have you done for false imprisonment. And the CPS will turn and say we've nothing to charge him with. Because they'll know the legislation and they'll say what he was doing was perfectly legal. So lock me up. I want you to. Because at the end of the day, it is you that will suffer when the professional standards... Yeah, 100% it will.
No, it won't.
Professional standards
Because
will
we
come
are just
knocking.
doing- we are just doing
yeah.
our job,
No,
sir.
you're not. You're abusing the legislation, sir. What part of Section 43... You've still not answered the question I asked ages ago. What part of Section 43 doesn't allow me to fly a drone?
You can fly a drone.
Right, so you just told me I
Absolutely
can't.
fine, but over a government building.
Right, so what part of legislation says I can't
It's
do
a
that?
security
Tell
risk.
me the legislation.
It's a security risk.
Right, is your building secure?
Yes.
Well, then you've not got a problem then, have you?
Not up there,
so,
no.
so what do you think my drone's going to do up there?
If the officer genuinely believes the building isn't secure from the air, then logically he should have the same concern about planes, helicopters, or any other aircraft flying overhead. But it's obvious this concern only comes up because it's the auditor controlling the drone. In reality, buildings aren't built to be secure from the sky, and the officer's claim that the drone makes it insecure is just an excuse to hold on to control after being proven wrong. What this really shows is that the officer is grasping for reasons to justify his position. Instead of admitting the building's security was never actually at risk, he's inventing a new problem that doesn't really exist. It almost seems like he's determined to stop the auditor from flying no matter what, even if his reasoning keeps contradicting itself.
You could be mapping it for a terrorist organisation,
Right,
for all I know.
do you own the airspace?
You could be
Do you
mapping
own the
it for a
airspace?
Are you mapping it for a terrorist organisation?
Who owns the airspace?
Are you mapping it
Stop
for a terrorist
chatting
organisation?
nonsense, man.
Well, you're chatting nonsense
Use your
to
common
me.
sense. You said it to
You
me.
use your common sense.
Why are you shouting at me, public servant?
Why are you shouting
Wind
at
your
me?
neck in. Wind your neck in. Jog on, go and do your job.
Sir.
Yeah, you don't like...
As the officers finally walk away, it's clear this whole encounter was a mess from start to finish. The most frustrating part is how they acted once it was obvious the auditor hadn't done anything wrong. After detaining him under the Terrorism Act, already a huge overreach, you'd expect them to admit they'd made a mistake. Instead, they doubled down, still refusing to let him fly his drone even though they had no legal reason to stop him. One of the strangest moments was when an officer suggested the auditor could be working for a terrorist organization. This wasn't just a random guess, it looked like a desperate attempt to justify their actions after realizing they had no real evidence for the detention. The idea that one person with a small drone might be gathering intel for terrorists is hard to take seriously, especially when Google Earth already provides detailed aerial views of the whole area. Another standout moment was when the auditor showed the official CAA website on his phone to prove he was legally allowed to fly there. Instead of accepting the clear evidence, the officer dismissed it as just any website and admitted he didn't even know what the CAA was.
I'm going to do my job.
You don't like
I'm going to ask you to move
no,
on.
I'm free to go, I'm free to stay. How about that?
No.
Yes,
Jog on.
It's a public
You jog
place.
on.
You jog on. See you later.
We have been nothing but nice to
You've
you.
just abused
You're the one who's been
Section
rude and
43.
obnoxious.
You've abused Section 43 of the legislation,
Sir.
and she felt me up.
I didn't fill you
Off
up.
you
I'm the
go.
one that
Shut up.
searched you, okay? So if you're going to have a
you go.
problem...
See you later, Muppet. Told you you would leave before me.
Sir.
Bye.
Well, I'll be back in a minute then.
Well, yeah, see ya.
Okay.
Bye.
You have a lovely
See
day.
ya.
Thank you for your time.
This exposed a big gap in his knowledge. How can you enforce drone laws if you don't even know the basic regulatory body behind them? Being cautious is one thing, but refusing to learn from the situation and doubling down instead is another. In the end, this episode really showed how some officers struggle to handle being challenged. Rather than admit they made a mistake, they kept digging in deeper, using weak arguments and over-the-top claims to justify what they did instead of accepting that the auditor was in the right. It wasn't really about safety, it was about saving face. And that's exactly why audits like this matter. They push people in authority to face their own misunderstandings and remember that having power doesn't mean you're right. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me keep making independent content. Also, check out the Laughing Auditor, linked in the description, and show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Police Prep, and I'll see you in the next one.